In addition to us recording, we also are going to start live streaming. So we're live streaming on our Instagram live page, as well as live streaming from our Facebook page as well. So guys, welcome everyone. Welcome. I was allowing a couple more people just to come in. What I do want to say good evening, and welcome to our first part of the CRC Presents Let's Talk series, Spirituality and Substance Misuse. So I just want to first start by saying thank you everyone who is in attendance um, for our unique discussion that we're about to have, our panelist discussion, where we're going to discuss several ideas regarding spirituality and substance use. I'd like to first start out by primarily introducing our CRC staff. And we also have a CRC staff member who has a special needs today, so I'll let him introduce that for himself. But my name is Trayshawn Cooks, and I currently serve as the program assistant for our collegiate recovery community, as well as a health educator. I will allow my other staff members to introduce themselves as well.
Hey everyone, I am Ashley Goss. I am one of the GA assistants working with the CRC program.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Omar McKnight. I am part of the street team here at NCC Collegiate Recovery Program.
Hey everyone, my name is Dakota Tuggle, and I'm also a graduate assistant for the Collegiate Recovery Program.
Good evening. My name is Jillian Grant, and I'm the program coordinator for the Collegiate Recovery Program.
Okay, and Ms. Georgia, did you want to share anything as well?
Hi, I'm Jorlina. I'm actually a student intern here at Central's Counseling Center.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. So guys, as we get started, I kind of want to give everyone a couple of bits of information about what our program is and what we offer as well. So a CRC space is a safe environment for students in recovery, students that are seeking recovery, as well as maintaining sobriety. We also open our services up to individuals who identify as allies as well. And the services that we provide as of now are monthly live streams. So every month on the second Thursday at 10:40, we hold a live stream where we discuss different process addictions. In addition to those live streams, we also offer bi-weekly drop-in spaces. Those drop-in spaces open up on Monday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. That drop-in space is for students who are in recovery, as I have mentioned, or seeking recovery, where they can feel comfortable and kind of sharing their experience if they so desire. And it's generally led by our street team specialist, Omar McKnight, as well as Mrs. Georgie Douglas. So to kind of get started, what I'd like to do is we'd like to give a warm welcome to all of our collaborators who helped us kind of create this program and put everything together. So first we have the diligent men and women of Collegiate 100. They generally work firsthand with younger students because they are a mentoring organization, and their model also stands as what they be, for what they see as who they be. Secondly, I'd like to introduce the revered Office of Spiritual Life and Development. So with Office of Spiritual Life and Development, this is led by Pastor Gloria, and Pastor Gloria holds weekly meetings called Transformation Tuesdays that are Christian-based meetings where they discuss different topics about spirituality, as well as voices of faith and action, where they discuss interfaith topics about spirituality as well. Lastly, we'd like to introduce the remarkable and excellent MAC program, Men Achievement Center. So the Men Achievement Center is one of the programs that I really want to take some time to say that they have helped me develop through my tenure throughout college. Uh, I initially started at NCCU back in 2011 where I joined the MAC program and I was inducted into cohort 3. They help men succeed as they matriculate throughout college. So I want to give a very, very, very warm welcome to all of the collaborators that are here that have assisted in the development of this process. So I want to kind of swing into what we're going to be discussing with this discussion. The focus of this discussion is to explore different ideas about substance use and spirituality. So some topics that might be explored are going to focus on NCCU's transition from a dry campus to a wet campus, drugs as an enhancer for academic improvement for students, cultural use of soft drugs to hard drugs at an HBCU, as well as financial gains for distribution of a student. And what that means is students who choose to sell substances to earn money. So that was just the substance use part. In regards to spirituality, I wanted to disclaim that we would like to acknowledge that we have a diverse audience and that audience may choose to have a different belief system. So I want everyone to feel comfortable in what they believe is, and I want them to feel comfortable in sharing their insight or perspective during this discussion. So as we focus on spirituality, we'll focus on several topics as well, such as spirituality as a coping method during one's recovery process, acceptance versus shame in one's recovery process and spirituality, as well as the road to recovery, and individuals who choose to go to recovery through fasting or abstaining from different substances. So from there, I would like to introduce our lovely moderators that we have on the call as well. Our moderators are going to be two of our own great team members, our GAs. We have a Ashley Goes as well as Dakota Tuggle. And I'll let you guys start off with the introduction.
All right, hey everyone. Like I said, my name is Dakota Tuggle and I'm a graduate assistant, and we will be presenting the questions to the panelists tonight. And we also wanted to give the floor to the collaborators if they wanted to share a little bit about their programs.
Sure. I'll go. So once again, I'm Dr. Heath, the director of the Men's Achievement Center and the African American Male Initiative. Basically, you know, our program is centered around
Dr. Heath, I don't know if we can hear you.
academic support and helping them get a career. And so, you know, these programs are very much needed. And this year it's been kind of struggle in a mental space for these young men, just spread out and trying to maintain. So we're just trying to keep them engaged the best way we can.
Thank you for that. Does anyone else want to give a little blurb about their program?
Sure. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but this is Pastor Gloria with the Office of Spiritual Development and Dialogue. I'm honored to be a part of this with the Men's Achievement Center and 100 Black Men. I want to just reiterate that we are always looking for student ambassadors that are identified as interfaith ambassadors, and we welcome all faith traditions to show what it means to stand on our campus to say your faith matters. So we have programs throughout the week and on the weekend. And my number will be in the chat. Look forward to hearing from each one.
Thank you. All right. And lastly, do we have someone else that wants to give a little message about their program? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and pull up the questions. I think, Trayshawn, you have to pass that over to me, maybe.
Yeah, I believe that I did pass the ball to you, Dakota. I wanted to, I also wonder if the panelists, so we have Ms. Khalees, Mr. Omar, if they want to share anything as well, any of the other panelists.
Well, I'll start. Good evening, everybody. My name is Clesa Gusto. I am an interfaith ambassador at the Office of Spiritual Development and Dialogue under Pastor Gloria. I am a senior psychology student, and I'm excited to have this discussion with you guys.
I see, I'm sorry, Omar.
Oh, no, again, I'm Omar McKnight. Again, I'm a member of CRC. Just excited just for the opportunity. And I'm just here to be a voice for the voiceless, basically. So nice to meet each and every one of you.
All right, and we also have a Jalen Spooner, who's the representative of the MAC. So Jalen, would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Greetings, everyone. I am Jalen Spooner, a senior criminal justice student. I serve as president of our Men's Achievement Center, and I'm very excited to be on this panel today.
All right. It's still saying that I'm not able to share, and it may have something to do with the recording. Hmm. All right, let's see if it works now. Trayshawn, are you able to pull it up instead?
Yes, let me, I'm pulling it up right now for you.
All right.
Is it, and you said it's saying that you're unable to share the presentation, correct?
Right, it's grayed out.
1 second. I'm going to pass the ball back to me. Sometimes this happens, guys. This is the hard part about meeting virtually. Sometimes you have the technical issues that you run into. But guys, just give us 1 second. We're working this kink right out. We're going to pull that presentation right back up for you guys, so we can start the discussion. So
I can go ahead.
while that presentation is coming up, I have the questions as well, that I don't know if you guys would like to share them, or I can also start the question off.
No, I have it pulled up. I was going to say, while we wait on that, I can go ahead and ask the first question. So we would like to know, how has alcohol or drug use impacted yours or someone else's ability to succeed in college? And anyone can take the lead on that.
I can start with that question. So, from my experience, I had my best friend. He went to school at a university, had a full ride scholarship to play football there. But his issue with using marijuana, alcohol consumption, and things like that, it prevented him from really exceeding like he wanted to. So he ended up losing his scholarship, and unfortunately had to drop out of college because of that. So I think alcohol abuse, substance abuse, drug abuse, and things like that. It can really affect anyone and everyone. So it's something that should be taken very seriously.
Thank you for that.
I'll go next. For me, I think personally, being able to succeed in college, you kind of want to think about academics first, but I know for me that it's affected me in a social aspect, in a social manner. Just how I coped with things, how did I deal with my stress levels, and I used alcohol as a way to cope with the things that I couldn't, like my trauma. And so, like Jalen said before, that it definitely needs to be taken seriously. And some people don't realize that they have those issues or that they're dealing with something underlying until it becomes too late or until they realize the other people around them starting to see the effects that they have on their lives.
Thank you for that. Did anyone else want to go?
Do I have to be on the panel? Can I make no? I want to say this. I know for me, I got a Central in 2004 with my alcohol abuse and just living reckless, and it almost caused me not to graduate. So I do understand how it can, put you down the wrong path.
Thank you. All right, thank you for pulling that up, Trayshawn. All right, so now everyone will be able to see the question in case they forget. All right, was there anyone else that wanted to go?
Y'all can answer. So a lot of people in my family addicted to alcohol, and considering I'm a first generation student, I would say that have an impact on why none of my other family members haven't been to college.
Thank you for sharing. All right. And is there anyone else that would like to go? If not, I'm going to pass the ball to Ashley for the second question.
All right, guys. So thank you for sharing your personal experience with witnessing alcohol or how substance abuse impacted your life. So our next question for the panelists is, how do you incorporate religion or spirituality into your daily life? And do you believe that it is an effective resource for self-efficacy and resiliency?
I'll start first. And I just wanted to first say that I do identify as a Christian, but again, I'm also an interfaith ambassador. And for me personally, I do a lot of prayer with my prayer team. We do 6 a.m. prayer, noonday prayer, Monday through Fridays. So just having that support system, knowing that I'm not by myself in this walk, in this journey, it's really been impactful for me. I've been with them since last August, probably a little bit more before that actually, but I will definitely say it is an effective resource to just have somebody that you can go to as your accountability partner, somebody who can pray with you, somebody who can just walk with you and just be able to be open and vulnerable and not feel like you're being judged about the things you've done or what you may have experienced, but really just having that person there or the people in your lives. And I've had multiple people. It's not just one person. I have friends from home who hold me accountable. I have friends here. So just having all those different support groups, as well as just having my own time for self-reflection, and just being able to have that own time, one-on-one time with God. It has helped me see the things that I want to work on, the things that I know that I can do better at, but also just taking care of myself in those matters.
I feel that. So your spirituality supporting you.
Definitely, definitely.
Any more panelists care to share how their spirituality and religion is incorporated into their daily lives?
Yes, I can add on to that. So I'm not the most person like person that goes to church all the time and things like that. But I just believe, sometimes you gotta have just a want a relationship with God and things like that. So really just taking time during the day, just putting your phone down, just talking to him. Because, I always was raised to believe, no matter what happens, no matter how hard the challenge is in front of you, sometimes, you got to turn to God because, he gives his hardest challenges to the strongest warriors. So, I just operate with that mindset and realize there's not really too much I cannot overcome as long as I keep God with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, that was good. That touched me.
Me too. I've had a personal experience, but spirituality to me is everything. Even at times when I felt like I wasn't going as far as I needed to be, I always latched on to like this spirituality component. Uh, I wouldn't say necessarily religion. I was born and still that's Christian values, but as I got older, I just got the spiritual component and not more so practice the religion aspect. But spirituality was like everything, even so it just gives you a little hope at the end of the tunnel because sometimes you can go through, you don't know if you're going to get to the end of it, but just holding on to that little bit of hope just makes everything all right. So I mean, it was real important as far as for me, for my recovery, as far as dealing in the streets, drug use, and things of that nature, on to being a college student and graduating as well. So it's a real important aspect.
Mm. Thank you, Omar.
I would say for me, this is Dr. Hicks speaking. For me, I became in the crossroad, like I said, in 2004 was a turn in my life. And then when I graduated, true story, I was having this premonition where I was giving up on God. And I said, I couldn't find a job. I had this degree of, still drinking and having a good time. And I questioned God. I said, I can't find a job. I'm trying to do everything right. And I just gave up on him. I was like, I'm just tired. I don't believe in you no more, right? And true story, like 8 o'clock that same night, a company called me and offered me a job, and that changed my whole life. Like I've never questioned my faith or my spirituality. It's like, what company is calling people at 8:30 at night? So I knew that was a sign for me, and I almost gave up on faith, and at 8:30 that night, someone called me, offered me a job, changed my life. So I know how you get those crossroads, and alcohol is always the leeway. But once then the hangover is over, the problem's still there. So that was a breaking point for me, and I've never questioned it ever since. I'm telling you that. I still remember that night like it was yesterday when that phone rang at 8:30 at night after I had earlier that day said, God, I just give up on you. And so that changed me and changed the way I dealt with drugs and alcohol.
So, Dr. Heath, what would you suggest to someone who's in a similar position, who's like at that crossroad of like, none of my prayers are being answered, or I'm not seeing any results? Do you have anything that you would suggest to someone who's in that same position, who can't get that call in the middle of the night?
Well, for me, I looked at it as that my grandfather, he always would say, faith without work is dead. And for me being a younger, I didn't understand that. He always say, well, no job is going to come to you if you're not applying, right? He said, if you're not throwing your reel in the pond, you're never going to catch anything. So he just had these cliches, right? And so he would always instill them in me. I would say for a person who's dealing with that, continue to keep your faith, continue to pray, but you still have to put the work in. Like for me, if you're trying to find a job, you got to put in 10, 12 applications a day and realize that I'm going to get a bite sooner or later. It might not come when you want it, but it's going to come in the time that you need it. And at that time, I had a car payment. I needed it. Rent was about due. I was staying with my friend on the couch, and I had to pay him. And it came when I needed it, right? It's like when it was time for me to have that, I think it was the right moment. But I would say this: you got to keep the pressure on you, take the pressure off yourself, keep fighting. And every day you hit the ground, you got to say, I got another day to get this thing right. And so from that point on, that's how I live my life every morning. I thank God. I said, thank you for giving me breath in my body. Even though I still have struggles, we all have struggles, but I know that if I keep my faith, I keep doing right by people, I keep doing the right thing, good things will come to me. And that's how I carry myself. I always try to, my grandfather said, treat the janitor like you would treat the president. I see homeless people, I treat them like the president, right? So if you keep that faith and you keep doing the right thing, eventually your blessing will come. I promise you it will. You just got, once you give up and get into those dark spaces, you know, the devil gonna seep in and say, I got him, I got her, and they gonna keep, you know, digging at you. So that's what I would say. Get up every day. You got to fight. You got to fight this thing, and that's how I kept fighting, and that's how I got to where I am today. Because I come from a family of alcohol abuse, drug abuse. I could have gave up. I could have been the next uncle that was standing at the corner store drinking beer all day, but I had to fight through that. So, you know, that's just my fight.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I can agree with you too, Dr. Heath, and I look at my life too as I look at it, you know, as being a farmer. You know, when you plant a seed, you don't reap your harvest right then. You know, so a lot of times I just try to do right by people, and how I bless people isn't necessarily the way that I'm gonna get blessed back. So, and God doesn't come in the same way every time. He'll come in a different form, whether it be through a person or through a favor someone did for you. So I just try to be open-minded about the blessings of God, because some people can have a narrow vision of of what God is. You know, because He came last year, He sent me a check. Okay, I prayed, I needed my rent due, and it came through in this form or fashion. But I'm wise enough to know now that, you know, blessings come in many forms.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing like you have to be patient. Like it's not an overnight process is like what a common thing I'm hearing from everyone. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Omar. All right, well, briefly, really quickly, I just got a message. We have a panelist that just joined us, Jonathan B., who is with the Collegiate 100. Jonathan, you want to unmute yourself really quickly and say hello before we pop on to the next question?
Yeah. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bogues. I am the co-chair for the Collegiate 100 to the 100 Black Man of America Triangle E chapter. My apologies for the tardiness. I was on a work call, so as soon as I was over, I hopped on this. Still in my office now. But so far, what I've heard, everything's been great. Roger, you said something that I really want to touch on, because I've been in similar situations. Graduated from school. I did everything so-called right. You know what I'm saying? You go to school, you make good grades, whatever, all that jazz. You can't find a job. You end up kind of bitter, angry. You know what I'm saying? I was in a similar situation, drinking. You know what I'm saying? Wake up and start drinking because I ain't got no job. Might as well, right? you know. But I would just say, I know it sounds cliche and I know it sounds like an after school special, but I promise you, keep your faith, keep pushing. I went from feeling like I can't even get an interview to now people call me sometimes, like, are you interested? And I just have to say, in fact, I told somebody that the other day. I was like, man, that ain't nothing but, you know what I mean? Like, in just a few short years, I went from literally can't even get an interview to turning stuff down. So I promise you, keep your faith, keep pushing, all that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right. Are we ready for our next question? If no more panelists had anything to add, let's do it.
Okay. So the next question is, do you believe that NCCU's dry campus policy was an effective tool in preventing students from becoming addicted to alcohol or other substances? And anyone can take the lead on that.
I can start with that question. So I am a senior here, so I did get to experience a dry NCCU campus versus a wet campus. And all honesty, the dry policy really did not help prevent the alcohol consumption on campus. If anything, people, just what I've seen, they did, continue to drink alcohol, use other substances. They just hit it inside the residential hall. I think, the best thing would have been we actually have like classes where we sit down, really educate people about the safety of using alcohol or alcohol consumption, and things like that. And, how to deal with substance abuse issues rather than trying to make it like a taboo. We don't talk about it. We don't do that here. And just take it for what it is. The truth is, this is a college campus. People do drink alcohol. People do use substances, things like that. The best thing we can do is just be smart about it and find ways to control it, limit it, or be safe about doing it.
Thank you, and I agree. Did anyone else want to add?
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Heath. Did you want to speak first?
I would say for me, like Jalen, I do agree with you. I think there should be electives that students can take that we really can bring in experts and talk about the nitty gritty, like really talk about what alcohol does to the body, like really get in and bring former addicts in to talk about their story. I bring in people from TROSA pre-COVID, and I let them talk about their stories. I mean, you meet men with degrees and everything. And so for me, when I was in school, I moved off campus because the campus was dry. And that caused me to have big parties with alcohol everywhere. It caused the police to run up in my house because I was trying to, Central would let me have my alcohol. I was going to drink my alcohol, right? And so I just feel like it's kind of like, it's like when you got kids. You tell them don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. When you're not looking, they're gonna say, well, "What is it about that they don't want me to do?" They're gonna try it, and then you have these situations. I remember about 2 years ago, a young lady got really drunk, and these men from off campus almost put her in the van. The police just happened to be there, and it was her first time on campus. She snuck and drunk with one of the RAs. It was a big thing on campus, and it was her first time. Her parents had never really talked to her about alcohol. They kept it away from her. I think if you give them the information and let them choose, I feel like we could curb it a little bit. But trying to hide it from them and keep it from them, I don't think that's going to be the key. I mean, because it's everywhere. So you can be here and go to Duke, walk into a party, they might have 5 kegs just sitting on the front lawn. So it's just about telling and getting the information out. I think knowing is knowing and getting the knowledge. So.
I wanted to just kind of go off of that too. The short answer is no. When you tell somebody not to do something, of course you're going to do the opposite of what you say. And seeing that as a student leader over the years, just seeing even the on-campus parties that were allowed, or pre-dawns, 10:40s at night, you of course would see students that were intoxicated or looked intoxicated, because we have this campus culture that if the only way you can have fun is if you drink and if you take substances. If you're not having fun or you're not drinking or anything like that, then like, who are you, type of thing. So just seeing that as a student and a student leader over the years, and I remember even 2017 coming in, we had alcohol edu, like it was some type of online program. And I know that we as students, we didn't want to go through it, we just had to because it was for credit for a class, but we didn't actually take in that information. So I think what Jalen said was important about having a class, really putting it in front of us and saying that this is what happens and this is what can happen in college. But like Dr. Heath's already said, that just completely removing it is not going to solve the problem. Yes, it might help a little bit, but there are still going to be ways to find alcohol, to bring it on campus, to give to other people. And so I honestly don't think that the dry campus policy was as effective as they thought it was going to be.
Thank you. All right, did anyone else want to share?
I agree with the rest of the panel as well. When I first started school, I went to North Carolina A&T. However, then North Carolina A&T, I'm not quite sure now, is if you was of age, well, rewind, I was a non-traditional student. And if you was of age, you could drink, so I didn't have to sneak out and, drink. If I was 21, I can go right in my dorm, past the RA, hey, how you doing? With my, with the alcohol. But, and again, like I say, keeping it from, I think it just only makes the matters worse. Again, what Dr. Heath says, it's going to make you question why. Hey, well, so it's not looked at on as other hard illicit drugs. I mean, it's in the grocery store, so okay, it must be all right, more so. But I agree with the majority of the panelists.
And also, I want to say this: that think about what we give off. We practice a dry campus, and then in homecoming, we just let everybody slide. Like, we know alcohol everywhere, bottles flowing from 8 a.m. to 2 in the morning. It's like we give off this, like, we just for the day we're gonna turn a blind eye. It's not right. That's mixed messages that we give them, right? And we charging our students for drinking, but on that day we let alum just come in here and just drink and party. And that's why I always say, how we gonna hold the students accountable, but we let us. I know we're adults, and it's our one day for homecoming, but it doesn't make sense to hold the students accountable. Alumni drinking, smoking, doing everything on campus. So that's the mixed. That's one of those things that HBCUs have to have to work on. Like we gave out two different messages. You know, I know we want alumni money, but still, I know students who gotten drunk during homecoming, hanging out with alumni, and really got wasted. So, you know, it's a hard battle to fight, but I think we just got to come to the table and really discuss it. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And then if everyone has shared that wants to, I'm going to pass it over to Ashley again.
Yes, I felt that speech about the the alumni coming back because I do think sometimes we feel like the rules does not apply to us. So yeah, that's true. So our next question, with all the social injustices and everything that's been happening with COVID, do you guys believe that students are more prone to using either spirituality or substance as a sense of relief or as a coping mechanism to everything that's happening today?
I mean, I think it depends on the person. Uh, so some people may be more prone to the spirituality component, but while others may be more prone to, you know, substance abuse. When I was coming through, I used a little bit of both. I made a combination of the both, spirituality as well as the substance abuse, which got me through. Uh, I've coming up. I've did hard drugs. I've done cocaine as well. I've done marijuana. Never popped any pills. That wasn't my thing. I was always scared of pills for some reason, but I would ingest other things, uh, and alcohol. So that was like the norm for me. Uh, some of the drug use I utilize, not more so as the harder drugs going through college, but marijuana and drinking were my main two go to. So I wasn't necessarily a liquor drinker. I was more of a beer drinker. So I never really indulged in liquor, but I would smoke marijuana. But uh, sometimes I think marijuana for me really probably maybe even helped me for the most part. Because I would get high and then want to go to class and learn more. So I wasn't one of those types of individuals who smoke and drink and then just skip altogether. I would you know smoke me out a little joint or drink my little never drink but smoke my little weed and I would go to class and I would take great notes. So when I came back and and I smoked again, it just enhanced the subject for me. I was more interested in it. So it was uh, it didn't. I can't say it affected me in a negative way, but for me, maybe the marijuana component probably maybe uh, helped me with my studying and helped me throughout.
Well, for me, marijuana slowed me down, so that's why I didn't never really like to smoke it. But alcohol turned me into this alter ego, like, and I'm an open book, y'all. Sorry, I wasn't Dr. Heath before this, so it turned me into this credible Hulk. Like all my pain and feelings, I would come out. I would go to the club, dance, come out, no shirt, some clothes on, be ready to fight. I was just an angry black man that was lost in the world. And alcohol was my poison. It gave me this. I would say what I wanted to say. I would do what I wanted to do. I mean, it got so bad. I could go to the club on Thursday nights, and people would say on Friday when you go into Fish Fridays, they would say, "Boy, you was wilding last night at the club." And I'm waking up, I don't even know what they're talking about. And still to this day, when I go to homecoming, I see people, they still bring up some of these old stories. I'm saying some of the stuff I used to do, like get drunk and I might stand on top of a police car, like crazy, wild stuff. And they still bring them stories up. And I'm like, man, y'all ain't gonna never forget this stuff. So it made me realize that what you put out there, people still remember that. They know I've changed, but they love to bring up them stories. And I'm like, I'm not ashamed. Yeah, I'm ashamed of that stuff, but half that stuff I don't remember because I was intoxicated. But they remember it like it was yesterday, and they always want to come around and laugh about, man, you remember that night you went to the Waffle House and you went behind the counter and started cooking? Like I'm telling you, I used to do some of the wildest stuff with alcohol, and now I don't touch alcohol. I may social gathering or something maybe, but I know alcohol takes me to another place, and that's how I stay from it. So me and keep my spirituality, I have to stay in that place because alcohol takes me to another side. So yeah, so I was a wild guy. I'm telling you, I was wild. So woo, all right, I'm gonna digress.
Yeah.
I would say kind of what Mr. Omar was saying about It depends on the person, really, on how you cope, how you deal with things. Um, whether it is your spirituality or your substance. I know like 2 years ago, I would have definitely said substance. It was alcohol, the weeds, popping pills, like just just experimenting because I was never exposed to those things in high school. I made that decision not to do those things in high school, but when I got my freedom and I decided to come to college, it was something that was a whole new world to me. And so I made the decision personally. I wasn't peer pressured, but to say, okay, I'm going to try this and see how it is out of curiosity. Um, and then it continued to lead on into just, me being a survivor of sexual assault and those things, just having a way to cope and not wanting to remember, kind of just being numb. So I think it definitely, I can speak for myself that it was originally substance, but now it would be spirituality, and just seeing how I've came a long way. But I think again, it depends on the person. And people are, I feel like, especially in COVID, people are looking for answers, spiritually, their purpose, why they're here, why is COVID happening, when is this going to end, type of thing. And then you also have to think about people are isolated. And so there's just stress built on top of more stress. So how do you deal with those stresses? By, being by yourself, whether you're in a dorm or you're at home, maybe with family, you're just always in the house, and how that affects those people.
Completely agree. Yeah. It's a strange time and no one knows exactly what's going to happen next. So one thing we can't have control over is spirituality or substance.
Yeah. I'll chime in here too, real quick. And kind of what I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Is it Khalees?
It's Khalees, yes.
Okay, perfect. Khalees and a few of the other panelists have stated, it depends on the person, right? Because in the past, it was definitely substance for me. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't still drink, but I'm definitely cognizant of certain things. Like if I have a long day at work, or like you said, COVID is getting to me, or whatever it is, I'm not ashamed to just reach out to some of my buddies, homies, whatever, and let's just talk. You know what I mean? Because there was a point in time where I would just use alcohol as like a coping mechanism, self-medication almost, you know what I mean? And I was cognizant of that. And I think Dr. He said it, whereas, he said his family had a history of alcoholism. I knew that in the back of my mind, and I was like, hold up, every time something goes wrong, you gotta have a drink, you gotta have a drink. Well, guess what? Those problems still gonna be there. You know what I mean? Find better, healthier ways to work through it. Like I said, me and my buddies, we'll just chop it up, because what really helps me too is when I tend to open up, they tend to open up back to me, and it's just kind of like it's reassuring. It's confirming that, like, all right, I can get through this, because my dog over here went through this, and when I helped him out, he helped me out. You know what I mean? I don't know, like, and I'm not gonna say I don't still drink. I'm very cognizant of making sure that you are in tune with your spirituality, your mental health, your all that, and not using that as a crutch. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else like to chime in about substance and spirituality? All right.
Thank y'all for sharing that. And as I mentioned earlier, I am a graduate assistant, so I'm like student round 2. And how I'm handling the pandemic now is a lot different than I probably would have handled it in undergrad. Because I did drink in undergrad, and I think I've had like 2 glasses of wine in the past year with dinner. So like, yeah, I don't drink often. So so on to the next question. This is for our students. You know how we talk about peer pressure and how it makes you do things all the time. So do you think peer pressure or social media impact your decisions around whether or not to use substances? And once again, anyone can take the lead on that.
I would say, and not initially, for the peer pressure. I think the first time that I decided to use substances. That was my decision personally. My friends didn't try to talk me into it. I was like, no, I'm kind of curious of how this is gonna work or how I react to it. But I do believe that peer pressure and social media both do impact people's decisions. Your friends might not have to say anything or try to convince you to smoke or drink with them, but if you see everybody else has something in their hands or whatever they're doing, it can create that sense of, oh, well, I'm the only person that's not doing it, or I'm kind of the odd person out. And we want to fit in as much as we can. We don't want to look like, why is this person not doing anything? So trying to just conform to those, and definitely social media. Just seeing the different things that people post about drinking, drugs, it's kind of a normalized thing now, where yeah, it's okay to do it, especially on a college campus when we're all trying to get through college, but also trying to enjoy our time in college while we can.
For sure. Do any of the other panelists want to go?
Yeah, I definitely think peer pressure and social media does impact our decision to use substance or not. Especially like when we come to college, because like when you come to college, you're with brand new people. Like you're just trying to find your place on this campus, trying to make friends and fit in, things like that. Like from my experience, I know I never used like smoked marijuana before I came here. So like the first week I came, I didn't know nobody. I just made a brand new group of friends. Next thing everybody goes to a party that's happening this weekend. They're like, oh, we're hotboxing the room. Come in the room, you want to smoke, and it's all my friends are doing it at the time. So like you're feeling kind of pressure to be, in that social norm, be socially accepted at that time to engage in that activity with them. So I definitely think, peer pressure, especially like on a college campus, does, greatly impact our decision whether or not we decide to use substances or not.
For sure. I remember those days as well. All right. Let's see, Omar, did you want to add? Or you're not a student, Lord. You were the first person that I saw on the screen. Any of the other students want to add anything? All right.
It don't impact me. Well, it did because whenever I first smoked weed, it was only because my friends was doing it. And I didn't even like it, but I only did it just because they was like, you scared to do it and stuff. So yeah, it do affect you, peer pressure. And social media also influence you to think that it's cool to do it. From like all the rappers and stuff on social media.
Thank you, Jared. I think for me right now, I mean, I'm having a different type of peer pressure. All of my friends have a Peloton bike, and I feel very left out. So that's what I'm feeling pressured to get, but they're so expensive. All right. If no one else wants to add anything, we'll move on to the next question.
All right. So, some of you already like discussed your experiences, but just to kind of dig a little deeper, if you're comfortable, did you have any experiences regarding substance use or spirituality growing up? And how do you feel about these? How do you feel that these experiences have affected you overall? So, if there was like a turning point, I know Dr. Heath talked about kind of his turning point with spirituality. Was there a point where things like just affected you differently than ever before?
I can get started with that question. So, like my freshman year, I really started like, the concept was on campus back then. You gotta be lit, get it lit, turn up or transfer. So, drinking, using drugs and other substances like that was a big thing. So my thing was, I didn't mess with like drugs or nothing. I was more like into like consumption of alcohol and things like that. So it got to the point. It was like 1 month. I was like every weekend. I was drinking. I was drinking. I was drinking. I was drinking. Then I went home. My mom started talking about, well, you put on a lot of weight since you've been gone. So I started impacting my health. So I started putting on a lot of weight from drinking alcohol and stuff like that. So it got to the point where I said I gotta really just chill out with drinking because like I started to physically see it was affecting my health. I was just like, yeah, I'm just good on that. And after that point, I really don't. I'm 22 now, but I don't even still drink like that now. I might have like a drink recreationally with my friends every now and then, but it's not something I like do consistently.
Yeah. You can always count on your mama to be honest, man. They are going to tell you exactly what it is.
Most definitely.
I would say really my freshman year was a turning point for me because that's when I realized that I was a survivor of sexual assault. And I spoke about this a little bit earlier. And I think that was my turning point in terms of now really how do I deal with this? And I didn't deal with it, of course, in the best way possible. That's when I started to turn really to drinking and doing drugs. Paired that with sex, and you get a big ball of mess. But for me, just having that turning point and knowing that it really affected me freshman and sophomore year. But then seeing how I was becoming, I started lying to my friends just so I can go drink and be with guys and things like that. And I started to realize like I was going to a deep depression, and I wasn't, getting any better. And so I really had to look at my life and say, how am I dealing with this? And really just come first and foremost being honest with my family about my survivor status, because that really was I think the most painful thing to do. It's something that you don't ever want to do, and those feelings of guilt and shame, and having to come out of those feelings, and then how do I get my life back on track to where I am in a healthy place, mentally and spiritually. And so I really do thank for my spiritual health as well, because that was one of the things that really got me out of the things that I was doing.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Khalees. Anyone else would like to share? Feel free to unmute, but if not, we can bounce to our next question.
Okay. And this question is similar to okay, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Trayshawn. All right. So for the panelists, are there any organizations or programs you would recommend for students who want to get spiritually connected, seek recovery, or get counseling for substance use? I already know of a few.
Well, I'll start. So of course, as you heard Trayshawn mentioned earlier, that there are Transformation Tuesdays every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. It is Christian based, but we welcome all people, everybody. We have fun. We have games, prizes. We do go into the Word of God as well. We also have Sunday worship, which is actually coming up this Sunday. It's also Christian based. It will be at 1:30. And we are actually going to be talking about Black History Month since it is February. So we have those programs. We also have Juma prayer for Muslim students as well. So feel free to connect. We love having everybody here. So
Thank you. All right. Anyone else got any suggestions for the students on the call or that may be seeing the recording later on?
Yeah, I definitely added that. I definitely say our Men's Achievement Center because as y'all can see from Dr. Heath's discussion, that he is a very well experienced individual in certain areas of life. So just having like somebody older than you that you turn to and talk to, they experience some of the same things that you're currently going through, and just having that dialogue with them, so you can actually see, tunnel might look dark right now, but there's light at the end. Just talking to him, especially in our center, having an honest conversation with some of our brothers in there about what's going on in your life and things like that. And then we understand, at some points, some stuff is beyond us. Like we only help you but so much as a brother. So we can, definitely turn to like our counseling center on campus, other resources like that. So, just definitely plug into the various resources like the Partner Spirit Dialogue and Development, the Women's Center, our Men's Achievement Center, our Women's Center, just those different, and our LGBT Center, just those different agencies on campus.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Let me scroll through.
I'm sorry. Again, CRC is always a great asset. We have drop-ins every Monday from 10 to 11, as well as every Thursday from 4 to 5. So again, just tap in. I'm dedicated to this organization. For me, I think this came right at the right time. You know, based on my past, as well as my story. I just think this fits so good with where I'm trying to go. So again, tap in. We got people who will assist you. We even have women for some women who may not feel comfortable speaking with the man. So we're very diverse as well. So reach out to us. We're always available.
Thank you for plugging that, Omar. Yes, the CRC is a good resource, and those drop-ins, you can find the link on our social media, or I think we're rebooting our website, so possibly there in the next coming weeks. All right, anyone else? All right.
All right, guys. And so again, kind of targeted to the students or anyone in the audience, what services do you think are needed on campus that are not offered currently? Like, you know, substance abuse services and things like that. Is there anything that you notice will be helpful on campus now for our students?
Yeah, I know I'm not a panelist, guys, but I'm also a graduate student, and I recently graduated from UNC Charlotte, um, and at that institution, there was a development of a food pantry, and within like a year, the food pantry it transitioned from a like really small room that was the size of a closet. We would have students come in, maybe like two at a time, to a whole house. Um, I have been told that there is a food pantry on the campus of NCCU, but I would like to see that resource kind of more visible, because what I am assuming is that individuals who do suffer from food insecurity might also be coping with a lack of food or nutrition by using substances. So I kind of want to see that promoted. I would like to see it promoted a little bit more. Maybe we can get in touch and work on a collaboration with that organization. I'm sorry, guys. I know that's for the panelists, but it was something that was on my heart.
No, Trayshawn, thank you. Because when I was in undergrad, there were definitely times when I mean, I had food, but like, you know, I didn't, you know what I'm trying to say? And so that would have probably been a good resource for other people.
I guess I guess a rehab center would be good for on campus. You know, a lot of students with real bad addictions.
For sure. Thank you, Jared. And I mean, I think if we just keep in mind that our counseling center is available to us, and right under that is CRC. So if you are in recovery, if you're seeking to be in recovery, we're building a hope space for you to connect with other individuals and have that support system. So thank you. I appreciate that, Jared. All right. Well, if there are no more ideas on what can be offered on campus, Trayshawn, you can do your thing.
Thank you to the great moderators, Dakota and Ashley. You guys are amazing, remarkable job. So guys, in our wrap up, we don't want to keep you guys too long, and we appreciate everyone that has stayed thus far, even who has stopped by and had to leave. What we like to do at the end is kind of I'm really big on engagement. So because we're not in person, we like to kind of do an organizational roll call. So because we're streaming on Instagram Live, streaming on Facebook, as well as through WebEx with all of you guys, um, if you guys are a part of an organization that we're collaborating with now, can you just show some support and put them in the chat box? So if you're a part of Collegiate 100, I was initiated at this illustrious North Carolina Central. You could put 100 in the chat box. If you're a part of the great MAC, Men's Achievement Center, any cohort, I was cohort 3, I think they're on cohort 12. You can put MAC in the chat box. If you're a part of the Office of Spiritual Life and Development, feel free to put that in the chat box as well. If you guys would like, please feel free to collaborate with us and follow us on these. This is our Instagram handles. So we have NCCU _Counseling Center as well as NCCU _Collegiate Recovery as well. Okay, I see. Oh, now we got cohort 9 in the building. And we got Office of Spiritual Life. Okay, I like to see the pride that's coming out. I do want to mention, guys, that this is a 3-part series. So this is part 1. The next, then we're going to continue this collaboration with the Office of Spiritual Life and Development as we join on the next Transformation Tuesday. That's going to be next month in March, on Tuesday, March 23rd, as well as the 3rd part series that's going to continue with the Voices of Faith and Action, and that's going to be on April 16th. So I do want to allow some of this time where we can allow other organizations to kind of showcase or talk about any organizations, any programs that they have coming up as well. We do have our live stream coming up next Thursday, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks from now, which is the 11th. I believe it's 2 weeks. It's coming to an end, February, where we're going to focus on gambling and gaming. But Collegiate 100, Office of Spiritual Life and Development. See, okay, Collegiate 100 in the house. Let's go. Okay, Office of Spiritual Life and Development, as well as the MAC. Do you guys have any? Okay, I like you see this engagement. You see the student engagement here, guys. Do you guys want to share any programs that you guys have coming up? Do you want to publicize anything before we wrap up?
I already said this, but I want to, just reiterate again, our virtual Sunday worship service is this Sunday at 1:30. I will put the link in the chat box for anybody. All are welcome. We will be happy to welcome you all. And our theme for that is, of course, Black History Month, overcoming trials, celebrating triumphs.
Yeah, I'm Jalen Spooner from the Men's Achievement Center. So actually, tonight, actually it just started right now. We have our HBCU and PWI Black Male Initiative. You can follow us on Instagram at NCCU Mac, and they have the information there how to log on to the link for the WebEx meeting. So yeah, you can check us out right there.
All right. Would anyone else like to publicize anything before we head out? So guys, right before we leave, we do have a really, really brief evaluation form. If you guys can just please take a look, fill it out. This is going to help us improve the product that we give to you guys. We want to make sure that we're giving a great product for you all. So if you guys could just take a couple of seconds before you head out, I'm going to put it in the chat. Just please take the time to fill it out so we can get some quick feedback. And I just want to thank all of our collaborators, all of our panelists, Jalen, Khalees, Jonathan. I'd like to thank Dr. Heath for his input as well. Mr. Omar McKnight. Omar, I don't think Omar has shared with you guys. Omar, did you want to tell him what today is for you? I don't think he has told y'all yet.
Giving thanks for today's my birthday, so I'm out in the Southwest, so I'm in Arizona right now. So just thankful and humbled. Again, I've come a long way just to be here, just to be amongst you guys. And I quit school. Just a little brief background. I quit school early on to be a full-time drug dealer. So I sold dope for about 15, 16 years. Was on the run for 7 years. And actually, I was on the run. The crazy thing is, I was on the run in college. But to God be the glory that I'm just on a different path, and just grateful and humbled. But it's been a long journey. And to those who are enduring, who has been through, keep going, keep pushing. Don't give up. Don't give up. Rob the grave of your genius. You know what I mean? So live your life now, and don't wait. For me, during the pandemic, I'm used to traveling a lot. So that was really one of the hardships for me, because I'm usually all over the world. But traveling was a catalyst for me for it was a learning experience, not only a learning experience, but it gave me a different taste of what I didn't always know or always do. Because a lot of my life consists of a perimeter, which is within my same city, which was a small town outside of Raleigh, which is called Smithfield, North Carolina. So I spent a lot of my time there ripping and running, just doing my thing. And once I broke free, uh, uh, well, I was forced to break free because I was forced on the run. And really, that was the greatest thing that could happen to me. And it was really a great experience. I was flushed out of my norm, and I went to the island of St. Croix, Virgin Islands, where I was on the run even then for a total of 7 years prior to coming back to the States to pursue a college degree. It was always a dream for me to go to college, and being forced on the run was really, I owe it really to that, because it forced me out my norm. But fast forward, I graduated, did my undergrad at Winston-Salem State University. I just graduated recently during COVID with my master's degree. So I'm a living proof of uh, um, example. You know, even with a felony record, I too have a felony record. You know what I mean? But when I go into an interview, I turn my F into an S, like I'm Superman. So there's nothing too hard for me. Uh, and through that same experience that I utilized from the streets, I took that and I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own business. I own my own landscaping company. So I took that same knowledge and put it into something positive. So I'm always in the hood, in the community, in the street, speaking of blood, Crips, whoever it may be, just trying to push that positivity onto them. So that's just it in a nutshell, and I won't take up too much time, but I can go a little deeper, but this is just enough for now. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this organization. Thank you for my colleagues. Thank you to the collaborators. Thank you, Dr. Moore, for believing in me. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
So Omar, I appreciate it. We all appreciate, what you just shared with us. And what we didn't tell you is that we actually had a really quick birthday song. So you guys ready? Okay, I'm just joking. I'm just joking with you. I can't, I can't sing, y'all. We're gonna wrap this up. All right. So it has been a pleasure. Thank you guys once more for staying on with us. Please tune in to our next live stream, March the 11th, and tune into all of the events that Jalen mentioned as well as Khalees mentioned as well. Thank you to our project coordinator, Jillian. Pastor Gloria, everyone who helped, Dr. Moore, everyone who helped us come into petition, Dr. Heath, Jonathan, CJ. It has been a pleasure, guys, and I hope that you all have a great night. All right, everyone take care.
Did you drop the link, Trayshawn?
Let me see. So guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to send you guys a link with the evaluation form. Please fill it out when you guys can, okay? We should provide an incentive. Thank you guys once more, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dakota, for dropping the link as well.
Good job, guys. You did a good job.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you for staying with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pastor Gloria.
Good job, Trayshawn and the rest of the staff. Look forward to what's to come. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank y'all for having me so much.